some coaches never went. But I know the last few years we've really pushed them to go, so I was hoping that would continue. Because there are some things you can pick up from those clinics.
Yeah. So we're hoping this addresses it. It's not a fix, solve everything. We'll still have some areas, but I think it's a good direction to move to start addressing this.
With that being said, we've had a motion, we've had a second. Is there any other discussion about it? Let's vote on it.
Motion by Sean Siebert, seconded by Sherry Schutte to approve the non-employee coaching process as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
It is also suggested we move to approve the coaching mentor process as presented. Do I hear a motion?
A motion.
A second.
Or Lisa. Is there discussion? Or, yeah, what I said 5 minutes ago for the other one. Discussion going once, discussion going twice.
I think it's laid out very nicely, honestly.
Yes,
I'll tell you, I think you're giving them the option if they want to do that as a mentor, and it's not like any more work. They're just going to shadow you, so it's not like you gotta take them out to dinner or anything like that. So very well put together.
Phenomenal. Then I'm going to call for the vote.
Motion by Roger Bridgman, seconded by Lisa Elrod to approve the coaching mentor process as presented. All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
Good job.
Next item is Board of Education proposed agenda item process.
Yep, so just adding this on here, just trying to look at a very systematic way for board members if they want to propose an agenda item, and it's in line with our policy as well. Right now, superintendent, board president set the agenda, so I'll continue to put items on there for district business or anything else that's kind of come up or relevant at the moment. With this process though, as a board member, if you would like an item to be considered for the next month, what you would do is email me kind of the topic and then a 25-word or less description, and I'll just put it on the agenda. So once we get to where we are now, that'll come up, that board member can speak to it. And if, and again, this is all for policy, if there's again, a motion, a second discussion, 4 or more who want it, then I'll just put that on next month's agenda, and then that gives me direction as well as my staff on what does the board say is a priority for the next month, and is there 4 board members who do want more information on that. So just kind of moving forward, I think that's just a good, fair, transparent way, and then that way, as board members, we have discussion right here to know who kind of stands where. We won't take any action on it with that just being proposed, but once it's voted in, then I'll work whatever direction the board would like. And again, that just would help free up time for me as well as my staff to know, yes, this is priority, no, it's not, or kind of where we're at.
So I have a little bit of discussion just to throw a couple of
Sure.
things out on this. I actually contacted MSBA today and I spoke with Kelly Hopkins to find out what, is this something that they, how do they feel about this? What does the current process look like? And currently, she said that the MSBA is actually releasing information in January about board agendas. And so we are going to be receiving information from MSBA about topics like this in January. And she had said kind of what the current process would look like for anybody that would want to add anything to the agenda. It's just that a board member would contact either Angela or the superintendent or the board president, and then that item should go on the agenda. One board member does not have the authority to even veto something from going on the agenda. Hang on, lost my train of thought. I've been sick for a couple of weeks. She said that she would recommend with the current policy, like what it is, that you do put a time frame, maybe if you want to see something on the agenda, maybe 10 days in advance or something like that. That way that does give administration time. Just something that kind of sticks out to me on this, on what is being proposed is that I think it's very rare that board members even ask to see anything on the agenda. I mean, typically if there's issues, they can be resolved pretty quickly, and it's not necessarily agenda type items. But if there is something that is being asked to be put on the agenda, but we are going to put it on the agenda to ask if we want to put it on the agenda, you know, you're stretching a process out for 2 to 3 months, and whenever it is the board's meeting, that concerns me a little bit. You know, if there's something that is important to Sean that he wants to see on the agenda, but we're talking that, you know, we're pushing this process out a couple of months, if it was important enough for it to be on the agenda, then you're kind of creating a long process.
So let me ask you, clarify, you said you talked to Kelly Hopkins today, and she said that any one board member can add anything to any board meeting agenda?
Yes.
We need to follow back up. I've talked to Kelly numerous times that has said straightforward, if you got 4 board members that want XYZ added to the agenda, it's added. If you have a topic and you talk to Dr. Davidson about it, you say, hey, what do you think about flying a different flag in front of school or something? Let's put that on the board minutes. If he had heard other scuttlebutt about flying a new flag or whatever the case may be, he may go, yeah, we need to get that added. So I do know that coming up in, I'm going to say 6 months, the law's changing, and I think
For
that's
community, for community members to add things to the agenda. That's in July.
yeah, I believe several things are changing here in about July-ish as far as how our board meetings are structured. I don't have any problem, and the one tweak that I agree with Jennifer as far as, can I make a motion today that we fly a different flag on the flagpole or something? And if there are 4 board members that would like that discussed in the January meeting, that we put that on the agenda.
You can, so that goes back up to the front of the agenda. So this is a tentative agenda, and that's what you do every meeting, is approve the agenda as presented. So that's where if you wanted to do that and add 4 or more, then you could, at the beginning of the meeting, throw that up there. It's not recommended, but that's how you would do that.
I mean, in the same token, you can also remove items off of the agenda.
We can pull them like off of consent and vote separately on an item.
Yes. So,
And so under, I guess you can't add under new business.
So again, going back to the policy of developing it, so Kelly Hopkins works for MSBA.
yes.
We're under MCE, so there are 2 different policy groups. So our policy does allow me to set the agenda in relation with the board president. Historically, if there were enough board members who wanted something, they would contact the board president or myself to say, hey, yes, this is something we want to look at. No, we don't. To be quite honest, not every board member agrees on what needs to be on the agenda or not. So that's why this is a transparent, upfront, and open. Who wants something or who doesn't want something. Legally, this is completely legal to do for our Tooth County lawyer, as well as MSBA said this is a great systematic approach to get agendas added on for board members. So, me as a superintendent, as long as I'm in this position, this is how I'm operating.
So does that not require a board policy?
We have a board policy, and I can pull it up for you if you like. But it again goes through there.
But would it need to be amended to state this?
No. I had our lawyer look at it and it's completely per our policy. And again, if there's something of urgency, I'm not opposed to it, but if there's just different opinions of board members, I don't know if that's a priority, not a priority, but different things take quite a few hours of my time as well as my staff's time. And I'm having troubles saying, hey, is that what the board wants? Not what the board wants. So that's where this systematic approach has come into play. I also talked to Kelly Hopkins and said that would be a perfect resolution. I talked to Margaret Hesse, said that would be a perfect resolution. So that's where this is coming from.
And I think, just in all transparency, Dr. Davidson hit a nail on the head, that earlier this evening, we went over multiple board policies and regulations. And we have currently, I don't know how long, but for the last 10 years, we've used MCE and Mr. Tom Meeks as our policy writer. And if we don't like those policies that we currently have, there's other policies out there. MSBA has a set of board policies that we as a board, we can fire Tom Meeks and MCE, and we can hire MSBA to write our policies, because there is some disconnect between what our current policy reads. And yeah, the first phone call that I make is, MSBA, yeah, Kelly, what's legal here? And she's reading from MSBA's policies. Well, Crawford County RT School District is under Tom Meeks' policies. Very similar, but slightly different. And so that may be a conversation that, as we progress and as some statewide legislative forces present themselves, we're gonna have to make some changes anyhow. So that may be a good time to incorporate many of those changes.
Which is
I like
actually,
I like the transparency. I think that's critical to be as transparent as we can be. I like that it allows staff. I think that there's a very lack of understanding of how busy our administrators, teachers, staff, all the way down of the daily responsibilities that they have. And I think this is a healthy boundary. And then I think, Angela, you articulated that it certainly doesn't, you know, if something needs to be addressed and it's mission critical, that the agenda can be amended at the beginning of a meeting. So, you know, there's not really an issue there, because you certainly still have that fluidity. So I can understand it. I don't necessarily see that it changes much.
so just put that on there, again, just for a systematic, transparent way. If the board wants something on there, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna not put it on there. If you email it to me or Jason Mel, I'll put that on there, and then that way the board knows who's thinking what to have conversation right now. Because again, there has been some challenges on where to spend time, and is that a priority, not a priority? Is that just a thought of future stuff? Is that a next month urgency thing? This just makes it upfront and open for everybody, so we know, hey, yes. But again, if there's something that's relevant or we need to address it, I'm not gonna not put it on there just from my seat alone to say I'm not gonna not do that. And again, I think this prevents anybody from having any thoughts of people not working together or working against somebody or whatever it is. It's just, hey, it's out here in the open. If 4 or more want me to work on whatever, I'll be glad to do so. It doesn't matter what it is. But that gives me a sense of direction, because there are plenty of things month to month that come up, and just managerial stuff that we have to go through and look at, aside from then what's priority, what's not priority to throw in there. So that's where this is coming from. It's all, like I said, for our policies, per our attorney, it's good. So just kind of going back to you, I think for right now, that's a good way to vet this out the next 6 months. July 1st, it does change. We will have public agenda items. Our lawyers are vetting out that process, but that'll just be another agenda piece after this one. Is the next, whatever public agenda items are on there, they got vetted out through the process, and they can speak to it and go from there. So it's a good just 6 month process. Month number 7, we're adding a public agenda piece. So.
Good. Next item is we need to schedule our next board meeting. It is tentatively scheduled for Thursday, January 19th. How does that day look for everyone?
Does that look good? I'll make a motion.
Just turned my phone off, so I'm waiting for it to come back.
I don't even wait. Here it is. I can wait on you before I make a motion that we do it on the 19th.
Has anybody looked at the school calendar?
There's a girls' basketball game.
On the 19th. Is it home or where?
At Herman. It hasn't woke up yet. I mean, my calendar's pulled up and nothing is coming.
Your daughter says she's probably available.
No, I said she probably had something.
Oh, it's probably up something, she said.
I said you might want to wait.
I was gonna say. I was thinking this. I know.
I would prefer not to.
Just block it out every Thursday. Roger, I'm still gonna give you a thumbs up.
I'm so good, I mean,
So,
wait on Tiff.
I mean, I'm still waiting, so if you want to go ahead, I will rearrange if there's something conflicting.
Good. Then I make a motion, we do, board meeting on the 19th. Stick with the Thursday.
and do I, is that second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on having a board meeting on Thursday, the 19th?
Looks good. I finally got that.
Oh, good. Perfect, thank you.
I did hear that.
Yes, open meeting starting at 6. Yeah.
Motion by Roger Bridgman, seconded by Lisa Alrod, that the January board meeting be scheduled on Thursday, January 19th, 2023, at 6 p.m. with closed session to follow. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? 7 yes.
Next item is, we need to go into closed session after a 10-minute break.
Yes. Motion, yeah.
Yeah.
Motion by Roger Bridgman, seconded by Tiffany Diggins, to go into closed session in accordance with the provisions of section 610.021, subsection 3, 6, 13, and 14 of the revised code of Missouri, in order to discuss personnel after a 10-minute recess. Roger?
Yes.
Tiffany? Yes. Lisa? Yes. Jennifer? Terry? Yes. Sean?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes. Yes.